Okay, so here it is. Deutsche Bank capitulates, starts charging negative rate on all new deposit accounts over 100 large. When the ECB first unleashed negative rates across Europe in 2014, banks were loath to match the central bank's deposit rates for their clients to those charged by the ECB over fears of depositors will simply take their money and go elsewhere. After all, the premise of paying the bank for the privilege of holding your money is still absolutely insane to most normal people. I love Zero Hedge.
I'm a nice guy.
Woo! All right. However, as the years went by and the ECB's negative rates kept rising, or rather dropping, banks were forced to quietly admit they had no choice, and starting at the very top, targeting only corporate clients and the biggest depositors, European banks started imposing negative deposit rates while hoping they could avoid going all the way to even smaller savers.
They don't have my talent, my money, or especially my good looks.
All right, indeed. Just last November, Deutsche Bank vowed that it would pass on negative interest rates only to larger corporate customers or the depositors of wealthy individuals. Okay, 100,000 euros is not wealthy, so they're targeting the middle, what's left of the middle class, all right? And spare most retail clients. Deputy Chief Executive Officer Karl von Rohr II Berger said, explaining that German banks have already paid several billion euros in penalty rates for their deposits with the European Central Bank, and Deutsche Bank's payments amount to several hundred million euros for 2019. Wow. I don't know if this is going to reach the papers in Germany, but this will be a crash course in broken fractional Mickey Mouse bad decision making finance / banking for a lot of people. If this is not front page in Germany today, because this is a day not a day ago, but it's a day ahead there, we're in trouble. So we got Search for the Truth in the house saying, hey Mike, well, you've found the truth right here. No less than half a year later, the Frankfurt-based bank, which itself is in dire financial straits, has capitulated to avoid paying the ECB's puntive rate, will soon introduce negative rates for even its medium depositors. There you go. Medium class, middle class. Wow. This is big news, and we found it way down buried here. This is if you're tuning in right now, scroll this thing back. You want to see this article from the beginning, and I promise I ain't wasting your time, because it's going to start happening all over the world. So let's see what the Dutch bank spokesperson said. The ongoing pressure from negative interest rates makes it necessary for Deutsche Bank to charge custody fees. Custody fees. So they ain't lying about what words they're using.
And I made a lot of money in Atlantic City, and I'm very proud of it.
So their pressure from, so they're calling it custody fees. They're charging you custody fees to hold your money. What happened to ING Direct? Save your money. We pay you 4.5% to deposit your money in our account. If you have $1 million, we'll pay you $45,000 a year in interest payments for $1 million. Now, you got to pay them to hold your money. Custody fees for new accounts exceeding 100,000 euros starting May 18th, 2020. The deposit rate of 0.5% is equal to the rate of the ECB charges banks for money parked there. So there's too much chain of command in the banking system. There's too many layers. It's like Chicago. Okay? Chicago has 5 layers of government, and they have 5 layers of pensions that they're on the hook for. I'm not making this up. The banks, there's just too many layers, too many people getting paid, too many just, not even pencil pushers anymore. Just a bunch of waste of money is what it is. This helps us on the earnings side. Of course it helps the bank, but overall it helps prevent further inflows of particularly high deposits that cost us money. So they don't want to pay people interest on their money. That's the whole point of wealth building. Because then the bank has more money on its books, and it has more leverage in its vaults, and it has more like deposits so that it could kind of match what it has out there. I don't think so. With the fractional, I'm not even going to go there. Head of the banks of German private customers business to his employees. This applies especially in the government that other banks further adjust their conditions and their customers are looking for an alternative for their deposits with us. In other words, the ECB flooding the European financial system with a tsunami of liquidity, one which it expected today with yet another meaningless long-term refi operation, as if that will do nothing to help the banks who can no longer earn a net interest margin. ARB become solvent. Europe's banks no longer need deposits and, in fact, will do everything they can to push away all but the smallest depositors. The good news for now is that existing account contracts are not affected. However, we expect that to change soon. So with European banks finally cracking down on the bulk of their depositors instead of just the top of 1% and corporate clients, what happens next? Well, what happens next? Well, that's a very good question. That's a very good question, what happens next? Because now they're getting the middle class or the middle savers, and they're just going to go right to the bottom.